Unplanned pregnancy. Your chest feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds. You just got the news. You're sitting on the bathroom floor. What now? You know you can't take care of a baby. You don't want one. You can't be pregnant. This can't be happening. This scenario is a reality for millions of women every year. With unplanned pregnancy comes huge decisions. Hello class, my name is Rebecca Drilling, and I'm going to be talking about the very controversial topic of abortion. I would not expect to change your moral standpoint on if abortion is right or wrong, but my purpose today is to persuade you that abortion should be legal. Abortion should not be made illegal because of the high demand for it, a lack of agreement over when life begins, and consideration for safety. A few months ago on the news, I saw the headline about Texas's newly implemented heartbeat bill. This sparked my curiosity. According to the Texas Tribune, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed Senate Bill 8, or the heartbeat bill, which essentially bans abortions after 6 weeks. As stated in the Texas Tribune, 90% of women who come to whole woman health clinics are more than 6 weeks into their pregnancy. Most women don't realize they're pregnant until they notice a missed menstrual period cycle, nor do they think twice if the period isn't right on time. So by the time they realize they might be pregnant, go out and buy a pregnancy test and schedule an appointment to see a provider, they've already passed 6 weeks of pregnancy. Those that get abortions cannot be sued by the bill, but the bill works by allowing private citizens to sue those that aid in or provide abortions after 6 weeks, including, and I quote, family members, abortion centers, rape crisis counselors, and other medical professionals, and no exceptions for rape, incest, or other medical complications as long as the baby has a heartbeat. This means accessibility to safe doctor-provided abortions will be terminated in Texas because doctors and providers won't be able to be sued time after time. The goal of this bill is to create a total abortion ban in Texas. There are several significant reasons as to why abortion shouldn't be banned. Induced abortions are regularly performed medical procedure in the United States. According to Parents.com and the CDC, 18% of pregnancies end in abortion, and in 2019, 629,898 legal induced abortions were reported to the CDC. The demand in the United States for induced termination pregnancy is high, which shows a high acceptance rate for abortion and a large need. It goes without saying the women that get this procedure see it as the best option for them. Rape, poverty, religious persecution, age, college, lack of support, fear of the adoption and foster system, health issues, relationship troubles. The list of reasons as to why not birth goes on and on. You may be thinking, well, if a woman doesn't want a baby, she has other options, which is totally true. What about adoption or foster care? While this is true, I can't speak to other successes with the system, but based on my personal experiences as a child in the state's care, I can see why many people wouldn't want to put their child through it. I've seen firsthand how much the state truly cares about foster kids. The system leaves kids in unsafe homes, bounces them around, and takes forever to do anything. It denies sound parents a chance to adopt or foster for reasons as unreasonable as a certain dog breed or a drug offense from 20-something years ago. Adoption can take years, leaving children to go through more and more trauma. I know that the hurt and feeling unwanted because my parents could not care for me. I would never have kids knowing they were going to go into the system or judge someone for not seeing the foster system as an option. The CDC addresses some of the demographics of those who find themselves with an unplanned pregnancy. 75% of teenage pregnancies are unintended, and the highest rates of unplanned pregnancies occur among those ages 18 to 24, those living in the federal poverty level, those without high school diplomas, non-married cohabiting couples, and non-Hispanic African American. Back to my personal life. Say I had gotten pregnant from being sexually assaulted at 14. I would have had to go through not only trauma of being raped and carrying the baby of a man that did that to me, then the pain of giving birth just to give the child up, all while I was a child myself. Before you condemn abortion, envision the pregnant woman as yourself, your close female relative, or best friend, and try to understand why abortion makes sense for them. Put yourself in their shoes. Think the logistics between how they juggle having a baby and the unique struggles they're facing. If abortion was banned, who's going to take care of an additional 630,000 babies? A woman can't be forced to take care of a baby, yet a baby is dependent on someone to take care of it. So someone somewhere would have to come up with the time, resource, patience to care for those children at least until they're 18. And even then, children are lifetime commitments, and they don't automatically become completely self-sufficient, and parental support will be important the rest of their life. where one supply is cut off, demand somewhere else increases. To wrap up, the number of abortion procedures is so high for multiple personal reasons, and banning abortions would create a demand gap and in turn causing more problems. Due to the importance for abortion shown by the needs and attainment for it, it should not be made illegal. Moving on to a major point of contentment between pro-lifers and pro-choicers. When does life begin? Some people believe life begins at conception, others believe it starts the moment the baby leaves womb. There is no legal, scientific, religious, moral, or social consensus to when life begins. You could look it up and find an article to support every which way. Opinions are not valid excuses to take away a woman's control of their body. A woman would not be forced to care for a child, therefore she should not be forced to put her body through the damage of pregnancy to birth a fetus she does not want. Until a fetus is birthed, a fetus is dependent on the person's end for survival. Britannica state that Roe v. Wade determined the age of viability or capability for meaningful life outside the mother's womb for pregnancy happens around 24 weeks of pregnancy. Fewer than 1% of abortions are performed at or after 21 weeks of gestation, as reported by the Center for Disease Control. This raises the question of which personhood is more important: the personhood of an already breathing, acting human with a developed personality and identity, or the personhood of a fetus that has the potential to have a life. Almost all abortions happen before the age of viability or when the fetus has a true chance of survival under the conclusions of Roe v. Wade. The School of Medicine at the University of Missouri finds that the moral status of an entity is whether it deserves to be treated a certain way and whether it can engage in right and wrong behavior. The moral status of a woman is that she deserves to be treated fairly with rights, as long as they don't infringe on her safety or someone else's. And it is undeniable that she has a conscience and can choose right from wrong. The fetus, on the other hand, moral status is debatable or undetermined, and it can't choose right from wrong, or engage in right and wrong behavior. Hence, the woman has greater moral status of liveliness. The disagreement over when life begins does not constitute a violation of women's body rights. Shifting to my next point. Abortion should be legal because of the importance of safety for the child bearer. The CDC claims that the national abortion fatality rate is fewer than one per 100,000 abortions. In contrast, the risk of mortality from childbirth is 14 times higher than the medically induced abortions reported. And statistically, abortion is a safer option for the mom. She should not have to put herself in harm's way to carry a keyword potentially viable fetus. Additionally, according to the American Psychological Association, abortion is not associated with an increased risk of depression, mental health problems, and drug and alcohol abuse. Going through the trauma of birth absolutely can do those things. Not only looking at safety of birth versus abortion, legal induced abortions protect women from the dangers of terminating their pregnancies under the radar. Women in areas that have banned abortions turn in desperation to unsafe abortions through DIY methods, unlicensed providers, and uncleanly environments. Making abortion legal will not eradicate it, rather just force women to take the termination of pregnancy into their own hands. To conclude, based on factual and emotional reasoning, abortion should be legal. Texas's passing of the heartbeat bill is not a sound decision, and there is too much disagreement over when life begins, and abortion is an important high-demand procedure that protects women's physical and emotional health. Regardless of whether you are pro-life or pro-choice, I hope you can now agree that from a lawful standpoint, abortion should not be made illegal. It is not a legal matter and should be left up to the woman to make the choice for herself. If you would not get an abortion, I respect your belief, but I ask you to respect the choice of those that have a different opinion than yourself by not taking away their choice. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my speech. That's all.